There it is. Hey, welcome. A little technical difficulty there, but welcome. It's 1 o'clock, 1:02 actually. And welcome to the Deal Doctor Livestream. I'm with Eric Graham and Marissa Harrington. Marissa is one of our team leaders for education, and she put together a really cool business planning Zoom, which is available. And she's going to tell you later, we're going to link to it after this is over. But we wanted to give you a little snippet of it because this is a great time of year for agents to stop, take a moment, take a beat, a breath, and talk about what they did, what worked last year, this past year for them, what was successful, and how do they want to structure their business for next year. So I always refer to the Alice in Wonderland story this time of year, and you may have heard it before, but it's where Alice meets the Cheshire Cat. And the cat says, and she says, which way do I go? And the cat says, well, that depends entirely on where you're going. And she says, I really don't know. And the cat replies, well, it doesn't much matter then, does it? Any path will take you there. Which is to say, if you don't know where you're going, you're probably not going to get there because you don't have a plan to get there. Exactly. So Marissa, help us.
Yes.
Share what you've put together.
I love that. I love that comparison with Alice in Wonderland, because one of the things I also say in our business planning sessions are, if you don't know where you've been, you also don't know where you're going. We are using the Ninja Business Plan. So it is a 29-page document, okay, that you can complete digitally, or what a lot of agents really love to do is print it out and workshop it, and then plug in, once they have all their final everything, then they plug it into the digital document and print it out and keep it for the whole year. So the company did this same kind of business planning together as a company a year ago. We have had some agents that were actually a good amount of agents that were part of that business planning last year that had a really great 2022. And what you were saying about making sure that, if you want to get somewhere, knowing where you're going and planning it out is probably really important, right? And so that's what the business planning sessions help you to do, or doing the business plan. The business planning sessions allow you with a group to kind of glean off of one another, get ideas, ask questions. That's what the sessions are for. So you could have this business plan and a link to it and work through it on your own. You'd be fine. But there are some areas where it will probably be helpful to have someone talk it through with you or give you some ideas. I have personally been doing this business plan for 5 years now, and know that it has been the key to my business growing. And so there are certain, tips and tricks, words of encouragement that I give people based on what my experience was doing this business plan. So the sessions they're very helpful, very rich, full of information, and definitely I feel like will set an agent up for success in the next year.
So when you start doing your business plan, what's the first thing you do? Do you lay out, for example, what you did last year to identify where you've had successes, what has given you the best return? Or do you take your life goals beyond real estate, your family, your personal, real estate as well? And do you start with a big block and try to, whittle it down to manageable size, or help us understand where we start? Because that's
a great question. So I feel like the Ninja you could do a lot of business plans, right? You can create your own business plan. I feel like the Ninja business plan is special because it's very intentional. It was created, for realtors to be able to plan out their business, right? So how they start you is you kind of decide what your mission statement is and what your big 3 whys are, why you're in this business. That's how you start. And then as soon as you figure out what that is, then it automatically is taking you to, okay, so let's reflect on the year. How did you do this year? What were your goals versus year to date for your transactions? How many appointments did you take versus how many you closed with buyers and sellers? It gets very detailed. That's page 1. Okay. Then you move on to page 2. Page 2 is breaking down even further. Where did your business come from? Was it from Sphere? Was it from referrals? Was it from your website? That's page 2. So this is how you are slowly with this business plan going, okay, here's why I'm in business. This is what's important to me. Now, how did I do this year? Real time, right? You're not guessing. You're writing down on a piece of paper, oh, I had 3 referrals this year. I might want that number to be higher, right? And then it moves you into, okay, if you are a ninja, like what are your activities, right? Did you commit to doing ninja activities this year? And you kind of answer those questions. I encourage the people that jump on the live stream or are doing the business plan for the first time and they don't know what ninja is. It's okay, because there are things that are like, did you make client phone calls weekly? Did you write notes? Did you have coffees and lunches? Those are all things that we should be doing, whether you know that that's ninja or not. So you kind of rate yourself. And then you move on to examining your systems and your processes. What systems and processes do I use in my business? Have they been successful? Have they not been? Would I use them again? What tools have I used? So that's how the business plan is kind of laid out. That first half is where have you been? And the second half is where do you want to go? And you build off of the information that's in the beginning of the business plan.
Eric, you had a thought. You were going to
Well,
say.
I'm always curious, and I think Marissa already answered it, is how do people get started with their business plan? Because I think we always want to have these business plans, but I think we bring out some paper and then all of a sudden we freeze up, or we really don't know how to get started. And what does a business plan mean to someone? I mean, I guess my question would be, where does someone start? How do they get involved, and where do they need to go to get something like this?
Yeah, so I'm a very huge proponent of the Ninja business plan. I just am, just because I have seen the success patterns for agents that have committed to doing this specific business plan and follow it for the whole year. So my suggestion obviously is going to be, reach out and we can send you the 2023 business plan, join one of our sessions. You don't have to do it alone. It's a lot. It's a lot. I just said it's a 29-page document, this one specifically. But any type of business planning that you do, and you all have heard me say this when I talk to agents, like treat your business like a business. You're going to have to invest that time, sit down and invest that time in examining what was my business this year. If you don't want to do the Ninja business plan and you just kind of want to, wing it or do your own thing, I would always start with, how did I do this year? How did I do? Break it down. What business did I do? Where my business come from? We're so blessed to have these transaction reports from Jeff. I joke around and say that is why I've been with 5 Star as long as I have, because I don't have to do it myself, right? So we have these transaction reports. We have these year-to-date reports. Like, use that information because it's right there. This is in real time. This is how you did this year. And then decide for yourself, all right, this is how I did this year. Do I want to do better next year? Do I want to stay the same? What's important to me in terms of my business and my goals, and kind of write that out. So you definitely can do a more simplified version of this business plan. I'm just obviously an advocate of the Ninja one because it makes you go into depth and detail down to the dollar. Like, this is how much money I want to make. This is how much money I need in my life, not just work. Like, this is how much money I need. This is how much I want to invest. This is how much money I want to give. I'm planning on buying a new car next year. So this is how much money that's going to be. And then you kind of add them all up and you deduct taxes and you go, all right, so this is how much money I need to live. How does my business correlate with that?
So let's pretend I'm new to the industry,
Mhm.
brand new, or I'm relatively a couple of years in. I've had a few transactions.
Mhm.
And my transactions have been, my business plan has been so far, whatever falls in my lap. That's my
Right.
business plan.
Mhm.
And now I've said, I'm going to be serious about this. I want to make this amount of money, whatever it might be. And
Mhm.
how am I going to get there? If I've never done anything other than have, it fall from the skies into my lap,
Mhm.
uh, where would you tell a new agent, where would you focus their attention? Let's say you want to go out and get 5 FISBO listings in the next year and 5 expired listings, let's say 5 referrals
Mhm.
and 5 sphere of influence listings, for example. Um, how would you help an agent in the most simplified form
Mhm.
set up that kind of a business plan to go after and pull in 15 or 20 listings next
Mhm.
year?
I think the key, there's two things that I feel like are very key to business planning. Be clear on what your goals are, right? And then how are you going to get there? So your business plan should spell out how, right? So if you say, I want 20 listings next year, and I want 5 from this place, 5 from this place, 5 from here, and 5 from here, right? Then you have to take your business plan and go, okay, so if I want to do FISBOs, I want 5 closed FISBOs next year. How am I going to get in front of these people? And so then you use that time that you're doing your business plan to brainstorm. How am I going to get in front of FISBOs? Okay, let me do some research on FISBOs. So it does require you, especially if you're a new agent. There's a lot of upfront work that you need to do. There's research that you need to do. There's digging that you need to do. And for agents that are with our company, you don't have to go too far to get that information, right? You can always reach out, ask broker support, ask, one of you, me, right? Kim, like there are places where you can go and say, hey, the marketing team, this is what I'd like to do. Anyone have any ideas? We are so rich with resources and support for our agents that they don't even have to go too far to get help in trying to brainstorm. But you really just have to sit down and go, this is exactly how I'm going to do this. I want to get from point A to point B, and I actually have to sit down and spell it out. And I have found that that is the hardest part for agents to do,
Yeah.
is
And
to actually sit
I,
down and do it.
a few months back, I did a live stream with Brian Bovin
Mhm.
and how he works expired listings.
Mhm.
And I would encourage anyone to go in and look at that. And there are other things that agents can do, like, as you say, the marketing team can help them, as well as even setting up regular mailings or communications by email blasts, whatever it is, on a regular basis. I think one of the options is contactually. Is that still around? I know I was using it for a while. I don't anymore. But there are a lot of options out there for people to engage with people. Social media platforms like Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, all of them are ways to establish a niche in the marketplace. Eric, what areas do you think a new agent or one who's trying to set up a program for next year, where should they focus their attention?
Well, with anything, just writing even a 1 page down of what your goal is.
Mhm.
Just write a statement down. Hey, I want to make X number of dollars. Just
Mhm.
having something to start. But the primary focus that I would encourage any new to industry individual would be compiling your sphere, your friends, your family, anyone that they know of, and block out some time each day, whether it's an hour or two where you're picking up the phone, just making a simple phone call to all your friends and family, letting them know that, hey, you're in the industry, that you're looking to be able to help them buy, sell, or invest in any type of real estate venture that they want to proceed. So you just got to be in front of your sphere, work your sphere, continually be out there, because it's amazing how many times people forget that you're a real estate agent. All of a sudden you see your friend, they just bought a house, and you're just like, well, what the heck, man? I've
Right.
known you for 20 years and you just forgot about me. Well, Eric, I didn't even think about you. For some reason, I don't know why.
I want to spend a moment with both of those things, and sometimes agents hear the words "set up a database." Who's in your database? And they go, "What? I don't have a database." And a friend of mine in the business once said, "I don't have a database." I said, "Do you have all those sticky notes that you put in your car's console, and you pulled them out and you put them in a brown grocery bag?" Yeah, I said, "You got a database. It just isn't organized yet." Okay. So all of those people, all of those little receipts you get from your dry cleaners and your doctors that you go to and so on, they're all people that should be in your database, and you should be communicating with them that you're a real estate agent, right, Marissa?
Yep. And we have, so this is, again, this is why I love the Ninja Business Plan, because we cover all of that. We cover all of it. These are the tactics, not tactics, but these are the tools that you can use. It asks you to research tools to accomplish your goals. And then you write them down, and then you kind of go, all right, first quarter of the year, this is what I'm going to be implementing. Second quarter of the year, this is what I'm implementing. And it takes you through the whole year. And I believe that a part of the business plan packet is that sheet, 150 people or sources where you can get business. That's actually a part of the packet.
Cool.
So it is very intuitive for agents who are experienced. But then also it caters to agents that are brand new to this. There are people I'm coaching right now that are doing the Ninja Business Plan that are brand new or haven't had a lot of business. So when you're looking at, well, what did you do this year? They don't really fill out that section, which is fine, right? Because there's 30 other pages that you can do, right? You can sit down and say what your goals are. You can sit down and say, how much money do I need? Where do I need listings and buyers to come from? And then, okay, let me research what I'm going to do to get in front of people. Because one thing that I will say is that everyone is different, and each one of us has to make our business unique to us, right? I think one of the things that newer agents get caught up in very easily is, well, I'm going to go do this thing that has been successful for this agent, or I'm going to go do this because I heard that's what people do, instead of actually sitting down and writing out, these are my individual goals. This is what I am passionate about. This is why I'm in real estate. These are the people who are in my sphere. Oh, I have a lot of people in my sphere who bowl. I don't know, right? I just happen to have a lot of people that bowl. Okay, maybe that's my niche. And how can I do some outreach and get in front of these people in 2023? And then you plan that out by quarter.
Yeah,
So
business plans and the manner in which we do business tends to change over our lifetimes as we have different interests, different people that we meet. But also because of the state of our family life. I know that when I had two daughters growing up and I was a single dad half the time, that I was running between, dance lessons and orthodontists and band camp and all of those kinds of things. And I had to structure my business around my parenting. So I think that that's really something that's really important, that no matter what stage of life you're in, you have to take that into consideration. Say, here's my business goals, but also here are my personal goals. And we don't live to work, we work to live. And so if we have, if we forget about our personal goals, our personal life, then we're not really delivering to the most important stuff. Would you agree?
I absolutely agree. And it's one of my other favorite things about the business planning is that you have to sit down and write out what your life list is. And so a life list is AKA bucket list, right? These are the things that I want to do, I want to achieve. It forces you to think like huge, like big picture outside of real estate. These are the things I want. This is on my life list. And then you're called to reflect on that so that you can then go, all right, in order for me to achieve these things and still run my business, how do I do that?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a balance, right?
Absolutely.
We're realtors, but we're also, family members and community members, and all of that has to be taken into consideration when you're doing your business planning.
Which
Right.
brings me to Eric's point, and I want to talk a little bit more about this before we sign off.
Mhm.
But Eric brought up the words blocking, time blocking. Let's talk about that, because I know we all do it. It's essential, and it's really important that agents understand that you have to commit to that time blocking. Eric, will you dwell on that a bit?
Yeah, I recall in my earlier times of just starting in real estate, I was told that you need to really get used to planning out your days. And even if it's, like from 9 to 10 o'clock, you're going to practice this part of your business. 10 to 11, you're going to do this part of your business. 11 to 12, this part. 12 to 1, you're on lunch. Maybe you just need some time to regenerate.
Mhm.
But it was very important to put in appointments also for planning so that you don't double book yourself. So many times you're busy, something comes up in your calendar, all of a sudden, well, you have an appointment. Now you got to call your client and reschedule. That doesn't look very well on your first time trying to meet someone. So the importance of blocking out time and doing something routinely. It's not
Mhm.
just once each week, but every single time of the day, the same thing from 9 to 10, you're calling your sphere, you're doing something. It gets you into a habit of that's your work. That's what
Yeah.
you do for work. And when you do something repetitively each week, it becomes a routine, and then you get used to it. You don't question yourself, and you're instantly able to pick up the phone and do something.
Right.
It's when you do it once a month, that's the problem.
Yeah.
You
Well,
you
yeah,
you you're not motivated to keep going and doing it.
the time blocking thing is really important. So what I'm going to ask both of you as we sign off here, let's take a moment. Let's pretend that you have blocked out time for your child or for going to the gym, something that's important to you or to your family. And you get that call, and the call says, I want to meet with you at 2 o'clock tomorrow to list my house. Now, I'll tell you one of the things that I would do. If that was time that was important to me, if I changed my appointment for me, I had to replace it 2 times over somewhere else in the week, which would cause me to go, wait a minute, I'm not sure I want to move it. And so I got in the habit of saying, I'm booked already. I have an appointment already booked for that time. Can we make it another time
Mhm.
before giving up that time? What do you do, Eric, and then Marissa, as we close out here?
Well, yeah, I'm not really willing to share what I'm doing with someone. I mean, it's my time. It's blocked.
None of your
It's
business. I'm just not available.
right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You're not important enough for me to come see you at 2 o'clock because I'm going to take a nap. I mean, I'm not going to say that. I'm not
Right.
available at that time. Please let me know if there's another date and
Yeah.
time that works, and I'll be there.
Mhm.
It's just like any other profession. Can you imagine
Thank
calling up
thank
your
you,
attorney
Eric.
and saying,
Yes.
hey, I need you to meet and talk to me? Well, I'm sorry, I'm busy with other clients.
Thank
You
you.
can't always we're not hot now.
Thank
That's
you.
not the way it works.
Hot and ready's like
Yeah,
little.
it doesn't work that way, at least for me. I'm like, hey,
Amen. Okay. Boundaries.
there you go,
Boundaries. Thank you,
boundaries.
Marissa. Yes,
Boundaries.
boundaries. And it's our job as agents to establish those boundaries.
Yes.
And if we choose to vacate those boundaries, it better be for a really good reason. So,
I agree. I agree. And I'm not going to say anything differently than you two already have. Boundaries. I have 3 children. I just no,
I think that pretty much covers it there. Diane?
no, like I have family
Yeah.
time that's very important to me.
Sure.
I have team time that's important to me. I'm involved in the community. Like I have I'm very particular about that. And we still do pretty good with business, right? So
So-
people aren't gonna gawk at, or balk. That's the word, balk. Oh, that's what I think of when I hear the word balk, like balking, like, oh, you're giving us, you can't meet at 2. No,
Yeah.
No, here's an alternative time. I'm not available at that time. And I started, I think, Don, I told you about this. I started using the Calendly website or app where you can send someone a link to schedule things and it goes right on your calendar. And when you sync it, speaking of time blocking, if you have everything time blocked, it's synced to your calendar, it's not even going to show availability to
Oh,
them.
would you do me a favor? Can you put a link on for our agents?
Yeah.
In this thread right here? That would be wonderful. And the link to the Ninja planning session or your
Oh,
business
yes.
planning, so that agents can click on it if they've watched this, and they can, or watch it later. And then they can go right to it and pull it up and start, establishing their own business plan for 2023. And with that, I'm going to say thank you to Marissa. Thanks, Eric, again. Thanks for all of you who joined and who joined later. And we'll see you next week. Bye now.
Take care.
Thanks,
Bye now.
y'all.